Hello class 6, how are you all doing? Hope you all are doing great and are safe and sound. Children, today we'll be doing a poem. It is an imaginative poem and is written by a very famous Indian poet who's not only a poet but also a songwriter. He's a novelist, he's an artist, he's a musician, he's a playwright, and he is the first non European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. He has composed many poems, novels, and stories, but his most famous work is a collection of poems titled Gitanjali. He has also founded Vishwa Bharati University in Shantiniketan, which is in West Bengal. We are talking about our very own Rabindranath Tagore. The national anthem Jana Gana Man, which we sing in our school daily, which is our national anthem, was also composed by him. Not only ours, but the national anthem of Bangladesh, Amar Shonar Bangla, has also been composed by him. And it is believed that the national anthem of Sri Lanka has been inspired by his work. Okay, now coming to the poem is an imaginative poem. It is about a child, about a boy who has a very powerful imagination, who wants to travel to faraway places, to distant lands, to explore new places. He wants to go to those places which he has heard about in fairy tales, and to do so, he imagines himself traveling on a boat, sailing on a boat. He believes that the main purpose for which a boat has been built is to sail on rivers, to sail on seas. And that is a poem we are going to do now. Okay, so let's start. In order to understand the poem better, let us first get familiar with few words that have been used in the poem which is related to boat and sailing. For that you have to open page number 19 of your book. Now on page number 19 there's a picture given, and there are many things shown in the picture. Each uh, of these words related to the picture are used in the poem. So let us first understand what those words are and what is their meaning. So I'll begin with the first word, that is wharf. WHARF, wharf. Now, wharf is a place where boats or ships are tied when they are not sailing in the sea, or when they are not traveling in the sea, they are not cruising. Okay, now in this picture you can see there's a wooden structure built on one side of the river. You can see there's a land, you can see tree and greenery is there. So that's the land part. Okay, now this wooden structure, which is, you can say, it's a small bridge which joins land to the sea. So this small bridge made of wood is called wharf. Okay, it is built starting from the bank of a river or from the seashore up to a distance in the water. And this is used for, loading or unloading of small things which are, when it comes to boat, it is used for loading and unloading of small, not very heavy things. So that's called a wharf. Okay, now the second word is moor. MOOR, moor. Now moor means being tied onto something. Okay, now if you see near the wharf there are pillars. Now these pillars can be either made of wood, or they are made out of cement. Now if you see closely, there are three boats which have been tied to these pillars. So that is called moor. The tying of boat to the pillars at the wharf is called moor. Okay. Now come to the ship part. Let's go for this ship part. Okay. The first thing I would like you to draw your attention towards is this thing. This thing is called an anchor. It is made up of iron, it is very heavy, and it is used when we want to stay in one place in water. When we do not want the ship to move ahead or backwards, but stay in the same position or same place in the water, for that we use this anchor. Okay. Now these big sheet of clothes, you can see these big sheet of clothes, these are called sail. SAIL, sail. So these are called sails. These are very big sheet of cloth which are used to capture the wind, which in turn helps the ship to propel, which helps the ship to move forward. So that's the purpose of the sail. Okay, SAIL, sail. One more thing, there are two meanings of sail. One sail is this canvas which is used to catch the wind. Other sail is when the ship is actually traveling in the water. That is also called sail. SAIL, sail. Okay. Now this is a steering wheel, which just as we have a steering wheel in our car or in bus, which helps us maneuver the boat or maneuver the ship, which helps us to turn the ship either left or right. So that's called a steering wheel. Okay. Now let's come to this one, this small boat. You can see the small boat. Now what you can see is the boat has hit, the small boat has hit the ship and it has turned over. So the turning of boat after it is being hit by a bigger vessel is called capsizing. Okay, capsizing, CAPSIZING, capsizing. Capsizing means when a boat turns over in water after being hit by a bigger vessel. So that's called capsizing. Now, in the same small boat, if you see there's a wood, there's a something made up of wood, that's called an oar, or we can also say a wooden paddle. Okay, so this is a oar which is used in smaller boats, boats which do not have engines. Now, if we want to move that boat, for that we have to use these oars. The spelling of oar is OAR. Okay. So these are few of the words which have been used in your poem. So now I hope now you are familiar with what moor, wharf, oar or anchor means. So let's start with the poem. The boat of the boatman Madhu is moored at the wharf of Rajganj. The poem begins at a place called Rajganj. The speaker, the small child is the speaker in this poem. So the small child, a boy, is wandering along, he's roaming around along the banks of a river where he notices a boat that has been tied at the wharf, and he recognizes the boat as that of a boatman called Madhu. It is uselessly laden with jute and has been lying there idle for ever so long. He also notices, the young child also notices that the boat is loaded with jute. It is full of jute. Actually, the boatman Madhu had loaded that jute to be sold in market, but this fact the boy was not aware of, and that is why he thought that the boat has been lying there for a very long time without any purpose. Idle means without any purpose. If he would only lend me his boat, I should man her with 100 oars and hoist sails 5 or 6 or 7. So he thinks that if Madhu, he here stands for the boatman Madhu. So the boy thinks, or the boy thinks that if the boatman Madhu lets him use his boat, give him his boat to use, he would, modify that boat in order to fulfill his dream. How he would modify that boat? He imagined that in order to sail to faraway places, he would modify the boat by adding, by fixing the 100 oars to it, by increasing the number of oars, and also by adding on sails, the same sail which I explained to you, which is used to capture wind. Okay, so the boy says that if Madhu the boatman lets him have his boat, lets him use his boat, then he would like to maneuver the boat, move the boat by adding oars and sails onto it. I should never steer her to stupid markets. I should sail the seven seas and the 13 rivers of fairyland. He says that after he has modified the boat by adding oars and sails onto it, he would not go to the stupid markets. Now, the boy has mentioned markets as stupid because he feels that the purpose for which a boat is built is to sail in the rivers, not to go to market. So he says that with Madhu's boat, while sailing on Madhu's boat, he will never take the boat to the markets, but he would in fact sail to the seven seas and the 13 rivers of the fairyland, the rivers which have been mentioned in the fairy tales. Now, the seven seas, which here refers to, the seven seas he's talking about are the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, the Aegean Sea, the Persian Gulf, the Adriatic Sea, and the Arabian Sea. So the boy feels that if he is allowed to use the boat, then he would like to travel to these faraway places. He will sail on these seas where he has never been to.